We all know it. We all hate it. You're sitting there. Maybe you're at your computer. Maybe you're watching a movie or just reading a book, enjoying a nice little light next to your bed as it illuminates the pages of your novel. And you're just minding your own business, not a care in the world. Maybe you have a pretty stressful life and you've just finally been able to relax for the day. Just breathe that, like, last bit of stress out of your chest from the day and just finally, like, let your muscles loosen up and truly let the stress of the day go. And all of a sudden, all around you, everything gets plunged into pitch blackness. The normal humming sound of all your appliances that you're so used to fade into pure silence, and you're left in the darkness, probably at night. They always happen at night, don't they? And at this point, you're just fumbling around for your phone or anything that emits light because you're freaked out, confused, and kind of pissed off. You know it, you hate it, it's power outages. I'm quite familiar with them. I live in Seattle, it rains a lot here, and I grew up in Florida. It rained a lot there too. A lot of power outages. I must say, I much prefer Seattle to Florida, considering the fact that here they'll actually get your power back on within like 6 to 8 hours, when in Florida you might go days before they bring your power back after anything from a rainstorm to a hurricane, and sometimes they bring it back the same day. It's really just a coin toss every time. Florida is a shit show. Regardless though, we all hate power outages. They're a nightmare. But imagine a power outage so large and long-lasting that for nearly a whole day, a significant portion of Europe, multiple countries, literally don't have power. That is what happened today in Spain, Portugal, and parts of France, when for unknown reasons, though there are theories, and the theories are kind of fucking scary, I'm not gonna lie. For unknown reasons, they lost power. Just a massive outage. I got a video here that talks about the details, but I will tell you ahead of time, we don't know what caused it, but I am very interested to talk about what I think may have. Or not what I think may have, what people who are pretty smart and, you know, they're not just random crackpots on the internet, are saying this might have been. Let's check this out.
Looking at a train station in Valencia in Spain that has been hit by a massive power outage that authorities there say is impacting the entire Iberian Peninsula. Let's get straight to our breaking news this hour out of southern Europe. And a massive power outage has knocked out electricity.
I'm curious, if there is a power outage that big, is there... I don't, like, would there be service on your cell phone? Or no? I feel like the entire country, outside of, like, satellite internet that has, like, with generators, would be, you'd be out of, you wouldn't have internet either, right? Would, like, data still be working? Is that using satellites these days, or towers? I thought it was, like, towers bounce signals off of satellites that bounce back to towers, and the towers bounce them to you. So if there's no power in the whole country... like, without the towers involved, are things still working? Sure, I can turn up the video. Thank you for letting me know it's quiet. Would they even be able to go on their phone and be like, go on Twitter and be like, yo, what the fuck? And see on the news that, like, half of Europe has lost power or something? Phones still work, but Wi-Fi doesn't work. Well, of course Wi-Fi wouldn't work because all the power's out, but would data work? Like, would you still be able to make calls and use data to, like, go on Twitter and go on Google and make searches? I guess this news story will tell us, but that, if you can't do those things, that's borderline the apocalypse. I'm not gonna lie, like, that's borderline a 12-hour-long mini-apocalypse. Yeah, phone data worked? Okay, good. Must have been using satellites then.
Electricity across Spain and Portugal, causing chaos at airports, at train stations, and on the roads. The Portuguese national grid operator says all of the Iberian Peninsula has been impacted and that some parts of France were also affected. CNN Salma Abdelaziz.
It's interesting that it's a geographic area and not like an area spatially, if that makes sense. Because you'd think if it, one of the theories that I saw, and one of the first thing I assumed, because I know that like back in the day, old computers could have glitches caused by the sun. If I remember right, it was like photons from the sun or like particles from the sun would hit your computer's board and flip ones to zeros and zeros to ones and cause glitches. And this was like an actual thing that happened to old computers, and it was a problem sometimes. And now they're built to like have fail safes when that happens to like correct it with double checks, triple checks, and quadruple checks and whatnot. But like that one Mario 64 speedrun, did that happen? Is that why there's that one in a billion Mario 64 speedrun? Because it was affected by a solar radiation? That wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, like tech is weird in that way, but like I thought maybe it could be a big solar flare that like knocked out power, kind of like an EMP. But if that were the case, wouldn't it be just a large not geographical area, but just area, you know, just blast in like a weird pattern that would make no sense, not just knock out a peninsula of land? Unless it was maybe very concentrated and it just knocked out everything connected to it wherever it hit. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, so I feel like radiation can hit a large area when it comes from the sun, right? Didn't the sun affect some election in a country that's not America? Yes, it did.
Is in London. Selma.
Chaos and confusion. I think those are absolutely the words of the day. Around midday local time in both Spain and Portugal, multiple towns, multiple cities experiencing a complete electricity outage, a complete power outage. We're talking about tens of millions of people now who are experiencing a total blackout. You can see what those images look like there on your screen. That means trains have come to a standstill. That means air.
I mean, you can kind of see. I think they did not have the best internet when they were trying to live broadcast this footage because, you know, no Wi-Fi and all that.
Airports are filled with passengers who simply don't know what to do. This is midday, remember, so schools, businesses, shops, restaurants, all of those, of course, coming to a standstill with people struggling to figure out what's next. Now to that confusion, because the first...
You know what I'd have done? You know what I would have done? I'd have done exactly what I do during every power outage. Get in bed, wrap myself up in a nice cozy blanket, put in my earbuds and turn on YouTube like a nice long podcast, turn the screen off so the power lasts longer, and go to sleep. And if I wake up and the power's still not back on, make myself go back to sleep and try to hibernate through as much of the power outage as possible. And ideally, I wake up to the sound of all the appliances clicking back on. That's what I do when there's a power outage. And nothing feels better than waking up and the power's finally back on. You're just like, we made it. We made it.
First question here, Becky, is of course for everyone there, when will the power come back? Authorities say they're scrambling to restore electricity in these places. They simply don't know the cause, though, of what's caused this outage. There are investigations underway, but of course the priority is to bring the power back. It's also unclear how widespread this power outage is. You mentioned those reports that these outages may go as far as France. Then you have to remember just how disruptive this is to daily life. It reports that even traffic lights are not working. The mayor of Madrid appealing to people to please proceed.
It's interesting I would love to see if there were people that were just going around seeing what is connected to like an automatic emergency generator, you know? Because everything that has no power, probably not connected to an emergency generator, but stuff that has power, it's like, oh, good to see that we have backups in all these areas, you know? I feel like you could use footage from this event as input on, like, what disaster movies, like zombie apocalypse movies, how, like, the fall of the world should look. Like, oh, yeah, the power has gone out, but there would still be this much light. You know, there's this many generators that would keep this much of the city lit up still, you know, that kind of thing.
Calmly, to be careful, because that is how much life has come to a standstill. Also, reports that mobile services, cell phones, are not working. So you're talking about...
I'm sorry, but this is news in first world country where other places live with this daily. Yeah, it's what's really funny about this, though, to be honest, is that, like, 12 hours of no power. Granted, this is so widespread, like multiple countries without power out of nowhere for unknown reason is newsworthy. Let's be real. Like, that is newsworthy. However, it is still funny, and I won't ignore the irony that there are plenty of countries where it is expected to have daily rolling blackouts, and that, like, sometimes you might have a day, 2, or a week without power. Hell, here in America, in Texas, America's own little third world country, we've got a couple. If your power goes out from a big hurricane hitting in, say, Houston, you might go 10 to well into the teens of days before they get your power restored. In Texas. On the coast. Yeah. Yeah, pretty sad that, like, you know, this is news, but that's not. I mean, it was, but, like, it is funny. You know, people are going to call out, like, oh, this is newsworthy. You guys are all freaking out over a little power outage. We deal with these daily.
About communications being cut as well. So absolutely right now, for tens of millions of people, there is a sense of scramble, a sense of panic, and no clear answer as to when these services will be restored or why they were even cut in the first place.
As you can imagine, the right has come up with their own conspiracy theories about how this could have happened, and they're all blaming green energy, and they're all using this as like, see, green energy is unreliable. This is why we need the U.S. to not go green. So they're already twisting this into a eco-friendly energy production bad narrative. Why we need to burn more coal, burn more oil, drill baby drill, coal mine baby coal mine. The children yearn for the mines.
Salma, I'm just getting news on parts of southwest France, briefly affected. News just coming into CNN by this power cut, but now focusing on supporting Spain, as far as we can tell, described certainly in the southwest of the country of France as being briefly impacted by a small power cut. That's a spokeswoman for France's electricity transmission operator, RTE, telling CNN on Monday. Obviously, nobody wants to speculate at this point as to what has happened, but certainly this being described in region as exceptional and extraordinary. Again, many questions about why and how long it might take before the power is restored. And at this point, your reporting suggests that there is no clear answer to either of those questions, correct?
No clear answer to either of those questions, and I think also the extent of the issue is still being understood. I mean, as you just mentioned there, we're starting to understand just how far wide this could reach, as deep into Spain. It's also affecting cell phone services. So again, we're trying to understand how many industries, how many services are affected by this. We talked about traffic lights. Just being able to cross the street right now could be dangerous in one of these towns or cities. But you also have to think about hospitals. How are they continuing to provide medical care, if at all, particularly emergency care, if these cities have been plunged into darkness? You also have to remember, of course, for schools, for children who aren't going to be able to have that electricity and can't even get in touch with their parents potentially. So a lot of fear, a lot of concern while authorities are scrambling.
I'm really curious. Apparently power is slowly being restored, and slowly kind of implies, like, damage, right? Like widespread infrastructural damage, or maybe they just slowly are turning things back on to not to risk overloading the system or something like that. It just seems weird that it would be a slow, gradual turning on of power when all the power just blinked out, presumably, right? The actual reason why the power went off, Russian sharks biting the underwater wires. I know I came up with that theory about the internet outages, but this is pretty crazy. There is a cause found. Are we sure we know for sure what caused it?
As you said, to get a hold of what is an unprecedented power outage across Spain, Portugal, and parts of Europe.
Let's just hear from the mayor of Madrid.
At
this moment, it is necessary to keep all roads clear. Traffic lights are currently off, but what is essential is that emergency services can move. We have also closed the tunnels on Street 30, and at the same time, calls to 112, please. Only those that are truly urgent. And if they are not attended to, they can go to police stations and to the fire stations of the City Council of Madrid for assistance.
I almost feel like while giving a public statement about a power outage, being surrounded by just a ridiculous amount of lights and screens and things indicating you have immense amounts of power to spare where you are, and you definitely have the AC on full blast. Oh, wait, this is Europe, never mind. The fans are on full blast. Like, I feel like there's a little bit of, like, you couldn't get away with this in America. If the whole country had no power and the president didn't address, surrounded by lights and screens, oh man, I don't know how that would go. Even Trump, I feel like even Trump would get a lot of shit for that, you know?
So a major power outage reported in Spain and Portugal, small power outages in France as well. The extent of this breaking news not clear as of yet. The countries of Spain and Portugal alone have a combined population of something like 50 million. Authorities at this stage then simply calling for calm as they start to work out what is going on the ground, why this has happened, and how long this outage might last. Do we have any further information at this point?
I think what you hear there from the mayor of Madrid is absolutely key right now, Becky, which is his concern around emergency services, because of course there will be an overload, if you will, in terms of calls to emergency services, in terms of demands to emergency services. So he's already beginning to understand that, and I'm sure that there is that sense, of course, across both those countries that the emergency services will be strained and they need to reach out and they need to take care of those who are most in need. But again, we don't even know how affected communications are, because we have this indication that cell phones have also been impacted by this power outage. So a lot there that's not even clear yet, because people simply aren't connected at this time. But for those authorities on the ground, the first priority will be restoring power as quickly as possible, particularly providing those emergency services to people who need it, and then figuring out what on earth happened here.
Like, dude, how anxious are you gonna be forever now about power outages of this scale? Because, like, I'm already on a general, like, daily basis nervous about my power going out just out of nowhere randomly at a bad time. I feel like I'm at least a little anxious at all times of that, even if subconsciously. That just went up to like 2% of me being nervous about it at all times from 1. 'Cause, like, dude, if I went through this, I'd be so nervous for like the next week, you know? I'd be like, power's not gonna go out again if I start this movie, right?
And as you are talking, we are just getting more news into CNN. So let me just read for our viewers what we have from Spain's National Railway Company, who say simply all rail traffic in Spain has now come to a halt. This is from Rente.
That's
on X.
crazy, dude.
The entire national electricity grid was cut off at 12:30 p.m. local time. That is, if you're watching in the States, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. That is according to the National Railway Company. It runs more than 1,000 trains a day, transporting nearly 1.5 million passengers across 5,000 journeys. Rente's trains include public rail services that the state considers essential, with a travel fleet that includes high-speed trains, Euromed and intercity trains. So as things stand at the moment, CNN reporting that all rail traffic in Spain has come to a halt, according to Spain's National Railway Company. More on this as we get it. We'll let you go.
Dude, this shit is fucking crazy. People are saying we know now what caused it. Do we really? Power outage cause? Do we know? 1 hour ago. News. Do we actually know? Here's live updates. Portuguese Prime Minister rules out cyber attack amid rumors. No, I don't think we do know. We know what it's not. About an hour ago, power began to return to parts of Spain and Portugal. People cheered and celebrated as power began returning to the parts of Spain and Portugal after a huge outage brought the countries to a standstill, grounding planes, halting public transport, and forcing hospitals to suspend routine operations. Portuguese Prime Minister rules out cyber attack amid rumors. Interesting. I'm really, really hyped to find out. I know it sounds weird to say it that way, but I'm hyped to find out what actually caused this, because there are people in chat giving different explanations. I saw claims that it could have been from a solar flare. You had the right claiming it could be caused by green energy just not being reliable. You saw that apparently Delanceur is claiming in France there was a transformer that caught fire and caused a sort of domino chain reaction that knocked out power throughout the whole peninsula. So there's a lot of people suggesting a lot of different possible explanations. I'm not seeing any like news articles saying that we have a cause yet, but thank you for the info, Delanceur. If that ends up being true, when I go live tomorrow, we'll probably have answers on that. Then I'll have to give you credit. Remind me you were right if you end up being right. Anyway, guys, if you watched this far into the video, I want you guys to comment down below. What would be a good thing to comment? What would be a good way to tell me you watched this far in the video? What would be a good related thing to leave in the comments? Let there be light. Comment down below. Let there be light. If you watch this far into the video, it really does help the channel, and it tells me you watched all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. And of course, leave a like and subscribe if you want to support the channel and go the extra mile to boost me in the algorithm and make sure YouTube tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. It really does mean a lot. It helps a ton, and I really do appreciate it. And of course, if you want to see more from me in the future, be sure to follow my social medias, linked down below in the description, especially my fan Discord server, the main hub of my community and fan base. And don't forget to, if you want to support me directly, financially, and you want to help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, and of course, if we do hit the dono goal for the day, I always put on a onesie for the rest of the stream, then you guys can donate, subscribe, or gift a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or you can support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or you can buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me, though, even if you're just watching, thank you so much. And I can't speak. And as always, have a good one.